We are gathered here today to mourn the loss of our high-revving 1.6 friend. A friend that bravely revved up to 7,000 RPM on multiple occasions, racing around on auto gymkhana days, proving itself and its worth versus a car in a video game. It will be missed, and we will mourn this loss for a long time. But we will never forget this brave soul. Okay, in all seriousness, my 1.6 is actually kind of fine. What I'm referring to and where the thumbnail and such comes from is on Friday when I got to work, my radiator took a massive watery shit on me and basically spilled water and coolant everywhere. Basically the top of my radiator just gave out and it started to just leak water everywhere, and I was losing a lot of water. So that wasn't necessarily a very big problem, and I actually sent that out to go get repaired, and now I have a fancy aluminium top for my radiator. It actually looks really cool. But yeah, so now my radiator is repaired and that's all fine and well. However, there are still mildly large problems that I'm going to get into in today's video. Basically, one of the problems that my dad and I noticed was on Valentine's Day, I took my girlfriend out for dinner, as you do. So I took my girlfriend out for dinner, and then when we got back to her house that evening, I noticed that my car smelled like burning coolant. I knew exactly what was wrong. I believe I've mentioned this in a previous video or whatever, but I'll mention this again for new viewers or anything like that. The previous owners of my car, I don't know if it was necessarily the previous ones or somewhere down the line of previous owners, but somebody never put antifreeze in my car, and antifreeze does more than just antifreeze the water. It also stops rust from happening, because you must remember when the car is sitting, that's just water sitting against metal. What do you expect is going to happen? So antifreeze is also there to stop rust, and unfortunately there's a car driving past. What it has done is the water lines between everything, so the thermostats, the block and the radiator, so on and so forth, those lines now have rust in them. What is the problem is the actual nipples, or whatever you want to call them, that those hoses go onto. So that being where we noticed it is on the thermostat housing and on the block, the actual nipple that's on the block that is embedded in the block. It is a part of the block. Those have completely rusted, and they're actually starting to collapse in on themselves, and they're super fragile and they're breaking essentially. So those little nipples, whatever you want to call them, are currently corroding away and eating in on themselves and collapsing in on themselves, and they're dying. Meaning that my dad and I should highly prioritize rebuilding the engine. Now, when my radiator decided to die, I kind of just concluded, you know what, let's just rebuild the engine before something more serious happens. Of which, if you guys were watching the Forza versus real life video, you would have also noticed on one of the pulls, my car spits a little bit of smoke higher in the RPMs. It starts to have some white smoke. Now this comes before my radiator had a boop, and but after the Valentine's Day incident, where my car was still losing a fair bit of water, not too much though, and oil, but there's nothing dripping underneath my car. Cause to believe it is my head gasket, and my head gasket is slowly dying and on its way out as well. So in short, that just really emphasized the fact we have to rebuild my engine, and preferably as soon as possible. Anyway, that is actually kind of it for this video. My car does turn on and run. I have the new radiator in my car. It's all cool aluminium now. It looks pretty fancy. But like I said, it needs work still. There are still one or two things that are not correct and need work. But otherwise, that is actually it for this episode. I hope to see you guys in a engine rebuild and turbocharging series. But if not, I will see you guys in the next episode. If you enjoyed today's quick little chat, please like and subscribe. That really helps me out. And share the video. That also helps. Until next time, guys. Cheers.